Hi, welcome to the Halloween RPG Reddit horror story episode, where we've got a couple Halloween one-shot horror stories. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The Nightmare Halloween One-Shot. Last year, I ran a Halloween one-shot for some friends. The premise of this one-shot was that everyone was trick-or-treating in a costume. The costumes included RoboCop, Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls, Link from Zelda, Steven Universe, and Batman. Each house had a small quest or activity before handing out candy. The session would have ended with a very small monster house dungeon and a boss battle with older kids in costume who were trying to steal the party's candy. That's so fun, actually. That's a great idea. Everything started off well. The map was half 3D printed houses and half papercraft. There was a small fountain in the middle with dry ice in it, so the map would be foggy. It looked great. Everyone was into playing their characters. Even the first-time player was really getting into it. At first. Now I'm a pretty relaxed dungeon master, and I don't mind if players have a drink while they play, as long as it's within reason. I make sure to tell all my players this. The new guy did not heed to my advice. At first, I thought he had just been sipping off a single craft beer. And then, as his behavior started getting more erratic, I noticed the small stack of high-percentage beer cans at his feet under the table, out of view. I had gone through the rules of the game a few days earlier with my player, and played a short practice session with him. I was comforted that he knew all the rules well enough to be able to play. After he got drunk, this was no longer the case. Whenever we got around to asking the player what he wanted to do, he would reply, "I don't know, kill someone?" Then came the issue with the dang dry ice. I feel terrible for my other players. Their job became to essentially babysit the player and try to keep his hands out of the pool of dry ice. Yes, touching the dry ice with his bare hands. Water was spilling all over the paper map and ruining some of the papercraft buildings. When I saw this happening, I instantly recognized the danger potential and wrapped up the session. After the session, the player pulled out another beer and nearly cracked it before I cut him off, and said that we were going to be wrapping up and everyone should start thinking about heading out. We arranged a ride for him to get home with another player. While clearing up, I found the 7.5% empty beer cans. That's in a 2-hour game. This dude was drinking to get drunk. I was a little impressed, but more concerned. Now, part of me understands that this is his first time playing, and there's the opportunity for everyone to improve. But part of me thinks that if it was just a social drinking gathering, his behavior was still inappropriate. A few days later, I talked to the player about it and asked what they thought. They said they absolutely loved it and had a great time, but it might be too long of a game for them. I explained that a 2-hour session was actually a lot shorter than most games we play, but if I was ever looking to run a 1-hour game, I would invite him. I don't really have any intentions of running a game that short, but it was still nice to say. For now, I'm sticking to running games with my regular group of players. Running a session is so much easier when everyone is sober and knows what they're doing. I might invite the new player back to the table one day, but he'll have to have the warning that he needs to stay sober. In fact, at the session, I'll probably ask everyone to avoid drinking. I've since learned that the player has a bit of an alcohol problem. That should have been taken into account in these situations. I know it's not up to me to change him, but I can help a little when it's in my control. I'm still friends with the player and talk to him about every other month. TLDR, new player got drunk during a Halloween one-shot. He touched dry ice with his bare hands. It freaked me out so much, I stopped the session. Don't get wasted at the D&D table, please. Woof. Oh my gosh. Hey, don't touch dry ice with your bare hands. That's a one-way ticket to get very burnt and very injured. Oh my gosh. Yeah, holy cow. Alcohol and D&D, it can be fun sometimes, but if everyone is in the same place and in the same vibe and doing it safely. But this, like, very high alcohol content beer in less than 2 hours, that is a lot. That is a lot. I feel so bad for this DM. At the beginning, when I was reading that the DM had 3D printed houses and props and a map and a freaking fountain with dry ice, I want to play at this DM's table so bad. Hey, OP, if you need another player, hey. Cause that sounds so freaking cool. I'm such a prop and an immersion fiend. I love that so much. Especially for a Halloween one-shot. So fun. I know this is a new player and they hadn't played before, but it's just rude. It's really rude to just, like, I know if you've never played D&D before, you don't know what to expect, but still, like OP said, if this was just a social drinking gathering, that's a lot. That's a lot. And it's not super great to get, like, almost blackout at a friend's house when everybody else is not doing that. I also feel bad for that person because OP also said they have like a little bit of a problem. I really hope they get help and I hope they start doing better soon. I mean, for the little bit that you played, it sounded really, really fun, and I'm sure you'll do it again with your current D&D group. Honestly, this OP sounds very chill and sounds like a really nice person. They don't sound like they're being judgy or even mad that this happened. It just sounds like they were more concerned, which is really, really nice. I love it when people on the internet actually seem like nice people. Restores the faith in humanity a bit. Unfortunately, I don't know if the next story will have such a nice, happy-ish ending. But before we move on to the next one, let's hear a word from sponsor Taylor.
I love D&D, you love D&D, I love toast, you love toast, I love plushies, you probably love plushies. Seems unrelated, but not with the sponsor of today's video, Dice Rolls. Dice Rolls are a bread-inspired plushy dice set that you can squish, roll, and they just look really freaking cute. I mean, who doesn't want that in their house and in their D&D shrine? Of course, because we all have a D&D shrine, right? They're designed to be soft and quiet, and they don't clatter when you roll them, obviously, because they're plushies. And they're perfect for all ages. If you have some kids who you want to get into D&D, they're a perfect cute little set to get them excited, or if you're a grown adult, they're still freaking cute, and yeah, I still want them. So go check out the Dice Rolls Kickstarter. The link is in my description below. Supporting this Kickstarter also supports me, so if you want to support me in another way, you can do this as well. So what are you waiting for? Go check out the Kickstarter below, after the video's done, obviously. Please watch the video to the end. Thank you once again, the 3D Food Company, for sponsoring today's video. Check out the Dice Rolls Kickstarter.
I think I'm gonna move on to the next one. Toxic Halloween Special. TLDR, DM sabotages my character during a Halloween special, and after several attempts of getting out, it ends in a TPK. This is the first time of posting something here. I'm familiar with the subreddit thanks to YouTubers like Den of the Drake and Crit Crab. A bit of background. This all happened in the game store where several others, myself included, also DM, and this is all D&D 5e. This happened around Halloween of 2022. This time, I was a player for a Halloween special. The first red flag came with the preparation, in which one of the DMs came up with the idea to switch players from the other tables while in the session. It is explained later on. Then came the session, which, for those curious, was pre-made characters. Keep this in mind. The Halloween special had something to do with a zombie plague. I played as a sorcerer, level 1 to 3, and we were inside a building. I would love to tell you all about the other characters, but 1, I cannot remember, and 2, at 2 points during the special, characters changed. As I said, we were inside a building. I think we had to rush inside because of the zombies, and before I could even close the doors/windows, the DM had us roll initiative. Great. Apparently, we either rolled very low or the DM put the zombies first, and with what he did next, I wouldn't be surprised if he did. The DM had put the 3 zombies in melee with my character, open windows/doors, and 1 with the 2 marshals. I had to use my disengage action, and the DM would just move them back into melee with my characters. The marshals killed their enemies and went to the doors to close/block them. Strength check. After 3 turns of this BS, the DM told me to just close the windows, since the zombies were getting inside. I was like, dude, if I do that, I get like 3 opportunity attacks against me. Are you insane? And as I said before, the others were forced by the DM to use their actions for strength checks. Remember when I said that the characters were pre-made? Well, my character was a wild magic sorcerer, because the DM thought it would be fun. Here are the stats from what I can remember. Charisma 16, Dex 14, Con 14, Intelligence 2, Strength 8. And Wisdom, I cannot remember. I had 1 melee weapon, a bloody quarterstaff, and yes, 3 zombies in melee combat, and then telling me to just close/block the windows is red flag number 2. After we finally managed to beat back the zombies, the other DMs were waiting on our table, so the DM took pity or wanted to move on. The party moved on. So now we come to the part where the players switch tables, which I really didn't like, but I now saw it as my opportunity to go to another table. Unfortunately for me, the other players thought the same, and only 1 was allowed to switch. So after the switch, we moved on towards the ruined castle, where the zombie problem started. Again, we came into combat, and again, I was put into melee. By this point, I was so ticked off that I thought to myself, you know what, screw this. If I die here and now, then at least I can grab my stuff and leave. So I started using my leveled spell, and all while knowing each time I did this, the DM rolled on the Wild Magic Surge table. I turned blue. I grew. Cast Confusion on myself. I was transported to the bloody astral plane, and I was silenced with pink bubbles. I was pissed. I was hoping on the whole fireball yourself thing. Then came the second time for the switch. Yeah, at that time everyone wanted to switch. Oh, the DM looked so proud that his idea was so popular. Wonder why? Yeah, I was still stuck at the bloody table after this. During the boss fight, which was going badly, as I was again trying to make distance for magic, I was told that it might be smart to help the others. Again, I was a wild magic sorcerer. I was no cleric or paladin, a sorcerer who has no healing spells. At that moment, my frustration of everything boiled over. My character cast his last spell, and finally, the RNG gods gave me a break. The DM rolled again on the wild magic table, and it was the long-awaited you cast Fireball as a 3rd level spell centered on yourself. I willingly failed my dex save. I said I rolled lower than I actually did, and the rest of the party also failed. 2 nat 1s and a 9, I think. One party member succeeded the save, but the total amount of damage that was rolled, a lot of 5s and 6s, it was more than his HP left. So it ended in a TPK. I was finally done and went home. For those curious, yes, the same DM has messed with my character before, after I spoke up about his way of DMing around new players. From what I remember, it was kind of unforgiving. Denny's, if you read this, F you, and just know that we lost an entire table of 5 to 6 because of this. I can verify, because I asked one of the other players who was a colleague of mine at the time, who was in contact with the others who left. I don't know, I feel like this narrator was just finding reasons to be pissed. When he said red flags, it didn't really feel like red flags to me. It just felt like, I don't know, this DM was trying something new with switching characters and switching players, because it was like a Halloween special at a game store. Either way, OP, I'm sorry. This is frustrating, especially when a DM is telling you what to do with a character, but is actively the one who's making it difficult to do the things that they ask you to do. It's just a little bit iffy. I still feel like this OP just wanted to be peeved. I don't know, like it feels like that to me. The tone of this story just feels kind of ranty to me, which is totally fine. If you want to rant, heck yeah, just rant. Maybe not the FU. I feel like the FU at the end to the DM felt a little bit much. I don't think anything the DM did really warrants an FU. You know what? We're all entitled to our own opinions, and we're all entitled to be angry if we want to. Well, I think I'm gonna leave it here for now. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to give me a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I hope you enjoyed this Halloween RPG Reddit horror story special. You know, I'm going back to my roots a little bit for this one. Be sure to give me a like and subscribe, and check out my other social medias linked below. And I've also got a Patreon if you want to see more RPG Reddit horror stories, but the NSFW ones, the ones not safe for YouTube, they're on my Patreon as well, so go sign up for my Patreon if you'd like to see those. And I would like to thank my patrons. They should be scrolling up the screen now. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all so much. It really helps me continue to create content and to create all this stuff so I can hopefully do stuff that you enjoy.
Thank you once again, the 3D Food Company, for sponsoring today's video. Check out the Dice Rolls Kickstarter.
Well, that's all for now. I will see you in the next one.